The silent buildup for years, the galaxy forgot about Earth. To the alien civilizations, humans were nothing more than a small, fragile species. They were weak. They had no great empire, no mighty fleets, no powerful weapons. They had lost their wars and were left behind. Other planets grew rich, built cities among the stars, but Earth was seen as a backwater world, a place no one cared about. Alien traders sometimes visited. They laughed when they saw humans repairing broken machines with their bare hands. They mocked Earth's old ships, saying they were fit only for scrap. In the grand councils of the galaxy, humans were not even invited. When alien children studied history, Earth's name was a joke. But humans never forgot. They never forgave. Beneath the surface, under the oceans, inside the mountains, Earth was not sleeping. Earth was building. Deep underground, far from alien eyes, tunnels stretched for miles. Engineers worked in silence. Soldiers guarded with steel faces, no word was allowed to leave. Entire cities of workers lived and died below, never seeing the sky again. They had one mission only: create the weapon that would change everything. The project had many names whispered among the workers: the Last Dawn, the Final Hammer, the Planet Killer. But to the humans above, it was simply called Hope. Years passed. Generations of builders worked. Fathers passed their tools to sons. Mothers trained their daughters. They all knew they would never see the stars again. But they built anyway, because they believed the Warship was no ordinary vessel. It was not. Meant for patrols, not for defense, it was a monster. So large that it had to be hidden inside Earth itself. Caverns were carved, oceans parted, mountains reshaped to keep its body secret. Its skeleton stretched longer than cities. Its heart burned with reactors strong enough to light entire worlds. Every bolt, every plate of armor was forged in silence. 1,000 hands placed each piece, knowing a single mistake could destroy them all. Its weapons were hidden, wrapped in darkness, weapons that no alien had ever imagined. And yet, outside, the galaxy laughed. Humans, the alien said, they can't even protect their own planet. They are weak, they are dying, they will never rise again. But far beneath those mocking voices, Earth was waiting. Sometimes strange energy pulses escaped from the hidden chambers. Alien scouts detected them, sending warnings back to their rulers. But the great empires dismissed them. Impossible, they said. Earth is broken. Let them play with their toys. Yet in the secret tunnels, the final touches were being made. Scientists whispered as they tested weapons so powerful that a single shot could erase a fleet. Soldiers trained in silence, knowing they would be the first to step aboard. And then, one night, when the twin moons cast pale light across Earth's oceans, a sound like thunder rolled beneath the waves. The surface rippled. Birds fled into the sky. Fishermen dropped their nets in terror. Something was rising. Something vast. Water crashed down as a wall of steel rose from the sea. The night sky lit up with glowing lines across its hull, lights brighter than any star. Shadows of its towers stretched for miles across the water. The people of Earth stood frozen on the shores, their mouths open, their hearts pounding. For generations they had only heard rumors, whispers of a weapon. But now they saw it with their own eyes. The Warship, it was not just a ship. It was a continent of steel. A mountain that moved. The ocean struggled against it, but the giant rose higher and higher, until its dark body stood tall against the stars. Inside, thousands of humans stood at their stations. The captain's voice echoed through endless corridors, calm but powerful. "Awaken the Warship," he said. "The galaxy must know. Earth still lives." Screens lit up. Engines roared like beasts breaking chains. Weapons hummed with deadly light. For the first time, the planet killer opened its eyes. Across the galaxy, alien satellites recorded the moment. They sent images back to their leaders, and the leaders trembled. Empires that once laughed at humans suddenly grew silent. This was not the Earth they remembered. This was not weakness. This was power. The silent buildup was over. The secret was revealed, and the galaxy was about to change forever. Whispers of terror. The galaxy could not believe what it had seen. For centuries, Earth was ignored, mocked, and left behind. But now every screen across alien worlds replayed the same shocking image, an enormous warship rising from Earth's ocean. Like a steel giant. At first, the leaders of powerful empires laughed. They told their people it is only a show, a machine too big to move, a weak human trick. But deep in their voices, fear had already taken root. On mining colonies at the galaxy's edge, workers stopped their drills and whispered to each other. They say Earth built a ship larger than moons. They say it can erase a planet, in one shot. No, it cannot be real, one miner said. But his eyes betrayed his fear. Rumors spread faster than light. Alien scouts had been watching Earth for years. Some had reported strange energy spikes. Some had vanished without a trace. Now their old reports were pulled from dusty archives, studied once more with trembling hands. One scout captain years ago had written, "I felt something awake beneath their seas. It was like a beast breathing under the waves. I advise caution." At the time, his report was ignored. Now it returned like a ghost, haunting every council meeting. In the markets of great alien cities, merchants argued with customers. "I tell you, the humans were never weak. They tricked us. They hid their power." Impossible. They had no fleets, no colonies. Then how do you explain the monster rising from their ocean? Everywhere, whispers became fear. Fear became panic. The empire of Zuroth, known for its mighty fleets, gathered its admirals. Holograms of the human warship glowed in the council chamber. The admirals spoke with uneasy voices. "It is too large. We cannot measure its weapons. Perhaps it is unstable." But one younger officer shook his head. "No. Look at the design. This ship was not built in haste. It was prepared for centuries." Silence followed. The truth was clear. Humans had planned this for generations. They had waited for the galaxy to laugh. They had waited for the galaxy to forget them, and now they had returned. Meanwhile, on distant pleasure worlds, alien nobles drank their fine wines. Their laughter sounded forced. Humans, they are only animals. A warship cannot change that. But their hands shook as they raised their cups. For deep inside, they knew. The age of laughing at humans was over. Some civilizations tried to deny the truth. They spread propaganda. The images are fake. Earth cannot create such a thing. But even their own citizens did not believe. The vision of the warship was burned into everyone's minds. Children asked their parents at night, "Will the humans come here? Will they destroy us?" Parents had no answers, only fear. In the darkest corners of the galaxy, enslaved races whispered with hope. For centuries, they were chained under alien rule. But now, they whispered the word human with reverence. "Perhaps they will break the chains," one said. "Perhaps they will punish our masters," said another. Hope for some, terror for others. Back on Earth, the ship stood still upon the waters, but its silence was louder than war. Its shadow covered the ocean. Its towers reached toward the stars. The humans aboard did not speak to the galaxy. They only waited, letting fear grow on its own. Alien leaders sent secret spies to gather more information, but none returned. Every ship that came too close vanished without a signal. Only empty static echoed back. That silence was more frightening than any weapon. The Galactic Council met in emergency. Leaders of 100 species shouted, "At once. We must act before it moves. We should send fleets. No, we must negotiate." But in truth, none of them dared to make the first move because deep inside they all knew the same thing. If Earth had built one warship, how many more were hidden? Was the ocean floor filled with giants sleeping beneath the waves? Was every mountain a hangar? Was every valley a forge? The galaxy's greatest powers suddenly felt small. One by one, the reports came in. Colonies on the outer rim were seeing strange signals, huge energy readings beneath Earth's crust, flickers of reactors, far stronger than any known. The whispers grew. "The humans have a fleet. No, they have a weapon that can destroy suns. No, they will enslave us as we enslaved them. Terror became chaos. Armies that once ignored Earth now shifted toward its borders. Citizens demanded protection. Priests fell to their knees. Some prayed to their gods, others prayed to the humans themselves. For the first time in history, the galaxy did not look at Earth with laughter. It looked with fear. And far below the surface, aboard the warship, the captain stood at the command deck, his voice calm, his eyes steady. He watched the stars through the massive glass. "They are whispering," he said softly. "Good. Let them whisper. Let fear do the work for us. First reveal." The galaxy held its breath. For weeks, the great warship stood silent on Earth's ocean like a mountain of steel. Its shadow stretched across the waves. Its towers rose like claws toward the sky. And though it never moved, its presence alone shook the stars. Alien leaders demanded answers. Fleets patrolled the edges of human space. Spies disappeared into silence. But Earth remained still, speaking nothing, showing nothing, until the night came when silence ended. On Earth's shores, people gathered, staring at the giant warship. They whispered among themselves, unsure if it was alive or just an empty shell. Some called it a miracle. Others called it a curse. But when the ship's first light ignited, the world changed. It began with a low hum. A sound like thunder rolled across the sea. Birds fled into the night sky. Waves crashed against the shore. The air itself seemed to tremble. Then, beams of light burst from the ship's armor, glowing lines that crawled across its dark skin like veins of fire. Inside the warship, thousands of humans stood ready at their stations. Screens lit up. Weapons armed themselves. The captain stood at the central command deck, his hand pressed against a panel that pulsed like a living heart. "Wake her," he ordered, his voice calm, steady, but carrying the weight of centuries. The ship obeyed. Engines deep within its core rumbled awake. The ocean boiled as fire burst from hidden vents. Towers shifted. Massive cannons unfolded like wings of steel. Entire mountains of machinery moved in perfect silence, as if the ship itself was alive. And then, for the first time, it rose. Water cascaded down its sides as the warship lifted above. The ocean, not sailing but flying. Its hull dripped with seawater that turned into mist under its glowing thrusters. The planet itself seemed to groan as the monster pulled free from its cradle. People on Earth screamed. Some fell to their knees. Some prayed, others cried. For centuries they were told Earth was weak, broken, forgotten. But now they saw the truth. The planet had been waiting, preparing, and far away in alien space, fleets watched through long-range sensors, their screens filled with the impossible. "Sight, Earth's warship rising into the sky," one admiral whispered. "It is not a vessel, it is a fortress," another corrected, his face pale. "No, it is a god of war." The reveal was complete, but Earth was not finished. As the warship reached orbit, its weapons shifted. Energy gathered at the tips of colossal cannons. A glow brighter than suns formed. Satellites across the galaxy recorded the growing light, transmitting it instantly to 100 worlds. On the alien capital worlds, billions watched the broadcast with wide eyes. They had mocked humans as weak. Now they trembled as Earth revealed what weakness had created. Rage, patience, and a weapon of ultimate destruction. The captain's voice echoed across the ship. "Prepare a demonstration." A small asteroid floated nearby, harmless, forgotten in the void. The warship turned toward it, weapons locked. Then, silence. For a single heartbeat, the galaxy waited, and then it fired. The beam of light was silent, but its power was louder than creation. In one instant, the asteroid vanished, not broken, not shattered, erased, turned into dust so fine it disappeared into nothing. Across the galaxy, billions gasped. Silence filled their homes, their streets, their palaces. For what they had just seen was not a weapon of battle. It was a weapon of judgment. Alien leaders collapsed into their chairs, faces pale, voices shaking. "No fleet can survive that," one said. "No world can resist," said another, and still the warship did not speak. Its silence was the loudest threat of all. On distant mining colonies, slaves who once cursed their lives whispered with hope. The humans, They can destroy our masters. They will come for us, they must. But the masters, the rulers of empires, trembled with fear. They understood what had been revealed. It was not just a ship. It was a message. Earth had been silent for centuries. But now with a single demonstration, it spoke louder than all the empires combined. We are not weak. We are not forgotten. We are ready. The reveal tore through the galaxy like fire. Priests called it divine punishment. Rebels called it salvation. Kings called it doom. But all agreed on one truth. The age of mocking humans was over. And aboard the warship, the captain turned to his crew. Let them see. Let them whisper. Fear will spread faster than any fleet. The first reveal was complete. But it was only the beginning, for the galaxy had just witnessed Earth's strength. And soon, they would learn Earth's will. Panic. Across civilizations, the galaxy could not sleep. After the first reveal, every star system was alive with panic. On alien worlds, giant screens replayed the warship's image again and again, the steel monster rising from Earth's ocean. The asteroid turned to dust in one shot. The message was clear. The humans were no longer weak. In the capital of the Zeroth Empire, the High Council gathered in a marble chamber that once echoed with laughter at human failures. Now, the room shook with shouting, "We must attack before it grows stronger." One admiral barked, "Attack?" Another hissed, "Did you not see? Our fleets would vanish before they reached orbit." "Then we must beg for peace," a governor said, his face pale. The mighty empire, feared across the galaxy, argued like frightened children. Meanwhile, across the trade worlds of the Meraxi, alliance markets fell into chaos. Merchants shut down their stalls, banks locked their doors. Citizens stampeded through streets whispering the same words. The humans have a planet killer. The humans are coming. For centuries, the Meraxi cheated Earth, selling scraps for gold. Now they wondered if payment would come in fire, in tar. The holy systems of Varun, priests stood before their followers, their voices shaking. "The prophecy has awakened," they cried. "For ages we warned. An outcast world will rise. A forgotten people will return with a weapon of judgment." The crowds fell to their knees. Some prayed to their gods, but many began to whisper a new name in their prayers: human. The panic spread fastest in the outer colonies, where enslaved races worked in endless mines and factories. For centuries they had known only chains. Their masters told them humans were weak. But now, as news spread, slaves whispered in the dark, "If the humans come, maybe our chains will break. They will destroy our masters, they must." Hope rose where it had long been buried. But for the rulers of those empires, hope turned into fear. The Karth Dominion, proud of its 10,000 warships, tried to calm its citizens with lies. The humans cannot reach us. Their weapon is a trick. But even as the leaders spoke, their generals whispered the truth in private. If they fire that weapon at Karth Prime, we will not survive. In every palace, in every council chamber, the same questions burned. How many ships have they built? Is the warship alone, or are there more beneath their oceans? Can any of us stop them? The answers were always silence. On the pleasure world of Acheron, alien nobles held a feast. They poured wine into golden cups. They forced laughter from their throats, but their hands trembled. "They will not touch us," one noble said weakly. But the silence that followed was heavier than any denial. Deep down, they knew the humans were not showing all their strength. They had revealed just enough to terrify. Even the Great Galactic Council, a place where hundreds of races argued daily, fell into chaos. Delegates shouted, "Sanctions! Peace! War!" The chamber turned into madness, translators breaking under the storm of voices, and above them, the great hollow screen showed the image of Earth's warship again, silent, waiting. In back alleys and dark taverns, smugglers and mercenaries began making bets. How long before the humans fire at a world? Which empire will fall first? Some laughed nervously, but their eyes darted with fear. No one wanted to be near Earth now. On distant worlds, children could not sleep. They clung to their parents asking, "Will the humans destroy us?" The parents had no answers, only trembling hands. And through it all, Earth remained silent. The warship floated in orbit like a predator that did not need to hunt. Its very presence was the weapon, its stillness louder than war. But silence did not calm the galaxy, it drove it mad. Some civilizations rushed to prepare fleets. Thousands of ships launched into the void, gathering near their borders, but their admirals looked at their maps and felt despair. For all their numbers, none of their ships carried the power Earth now held. Other civilizations turned to diplomacy. Envoys raced to prepare messages of peace, begging for talks. They spoke in whispers. Perhaps if we surrender, the humans will spare us, and still others turned to faith, calling the humans the chosen destroyers, the hands of judgment. The panic was everywhere. But in one place, aboard the warship itself, there was calm. On the command deck, the captain listened to the silence of space. He watched the galaxy burn with fear. His crew worked in silence, disciplined, patient. They had no need to shout, no need to argue. Their ship had already spoken for them. At last, the captain turned to his officers. "The galaxy runs like frightened prey," he said. "Good. Let them run. The hunt has not yet begun." The first strike. The galaxy's panic reached its breaking point. For weeks, the alien empires had argued, prayed, and trembled. But Earth remained silent. Its warship floated above the blue planet like a dark god, unmoving, unshaken. Its stillness was heavier than 1,000 fleets. The galaxy waited for words, for promises, for peace, but Earth gave none. And then, without warning, the silence ended. From the command deck of the warship, the captain gave a single order: target acquired. Across the stars, sensors flared, fleets locked on their scanners. And then the impossible happened. The warship moved, its massive hull glided through the void with terrifying grace. A ship larger than cities moved as though it weighed nothing. Its engines did not roar, they whispered, silent and deadly. The galaxy's watchers held their breath, waiting to see where the monster would go. The target was chosen, an alien moon, belonging to the Zeroth Empire. The moon was not just rock. It was alive with factories, mines, and cities carved into its crust. Millions lived and worked there. They believed themselves untouchable, guarded by fleets, protected by their empires. But pride was nothing now. The warship faced the moon. Its weapons unfolded like the wings of a beast, glowing with white fire, cannons the size of towers locked into place, energy built within, so bright that even distant colonies saw the sky. Turn-white alien fleets scrambled to form a wall. Hundreds of ships moved into position, lines of steel spreading across space. Their commanders shouted, "Hold the line! Do not let it fire!" But fear had already eaten their hearts. On their screens they saw the glow building, brighter and brighter, a star being born at the warship's heart. Their weapons fired. Thousands of missiles and beams lit up space. But as they neared the human warship, they fizzled, vanished, swallowed by invisible shields that bent light itself. The human crew watched the storm of alien fire without a flicker of fear. On the command deck, the captain's voice was calm. "Release!" And the weapon spoke. It was not sound, it was not flame, it was pure light, a beam so bright that alien eyes burned as they watched it. The fleets in front of the moon were erased in seconds. Ships turned into dust, debris scattered like sparks before a bonfire. Then the beam reached the moon. There was no explosion, no shattering rock. The moon did not break, it vanished. One instant it was there, covered in cities and lights. The next it was nothing but drifting particles, a hole carved into space itself. Across the galaxy, billions screamed. Priests dropped to their knees. Leaders clutched their thrones. Children cried in the arms of their parents because they had just seen the truth. The warship was not a weapon of battle, it was a weapon of extinction. The Zeroth Empire collapsed into chaos. Admirals screamed into comms, their voices desperate. Fall back, retreat, protect the homeworld. But deep in their hearts they knew nothing could protect them now. On distant worlds, the images spread. Every screen showed the moon's destruction, replaying the moment again and again. Whole populations stood frozen, mouths open, unable to look away. Some saw judgment, others saw salvation, but all saw terror, and aboard the warship, silence ruled once again. The crew did not cheer. They did not celebrate. They only watched the fading dust of the moon, their faces calm, their eyes steady. They had trained for this moment their entire lives. The captain spoke. Message delivered. That was all it was. A message. One strike. One warning. A single act to tell the galaxy what Earth could do, to show that no fleet, no empire, no army could resist. But the message was louder than 1,000 speeches. On the holy worlds of Varun, priests declared, the judgment has begun. The humans are the bringers of end times. On the slave colonies of the Outer Rim, broken workers raised their fists. The humans will free us, they will break our chains. In the grand palaces of alien rulers, voices whispered, if they strike again, it will be us. We must kneel. We must beg. Civilizations that once mocked humanity now wrote desperate messages, envoys racing through space to deliver pleas. They begged for talks. They begged for mercy, and through it all, the warship floated in silence, a predator that had shown its teeth and now waited for its prey to kneel. The galaxy had seen the first strike. It would never forget. For in a single beam of light, Earth had destroyed more than a moon. It had destroyed centuries of arrogance. It had destroyed the lie that humans were weak, and in the shadows of every star the whispers grew louder. Do not anger Earth. Do not stand against them. Pray they do not fire again. The first strike was over, but the war had not even begun. Pleas for mercy. The galaxy had seen the first strike, and terror spread like wildfire. One moon, erased in a single breath of light. That was enough. The message was louder than words. No fleet could resist. No shield could block. And suddenly the mighty empires that once mocked Earth became beggars. In the capital of the Zurath Empire, where the destroyed moon once sent its wealth, the emperor trembled on his throne. Around him, his council screamed for answers. Send the fleet. No, hide the fleet. Offer tribute. Bow before them. The emperor slammed his fist on the table, his voice breaking. We must ask for mercy. For the first time in Zurath history, the proud empire that enslaved hundreds of worlds lowered its head. Messages rushed across the stars, coded signals, desperate transmissions. To the leaders of Earth we beg, spare our people. We surrender. We will serve. They were not alone. In the Meraxi Alliance, trade leaders who once cheated humans now sent crates of gold, rare crystals, even ships toward Earth's borders, gifts, desperate offerings, hoping the warship would pass them by. In their markets, merchants whispered, buy nothing, sell nothing, save everything for the humans. On the holy worlds of Varun, priests covered themselves in ashes. Their temples rang with cries. Forgive us, O bringers of judgment, forgive our pride. Across entire cities, billions bowed toward Earth's star, praying as if humanity itself were divine. In the dominion of Karth, rulers sent their own children as hostages, young princes and princesses flown across the void with trembling hands. They were sent not as envoys, but as shields, gifts of obedience. If we give our blood, the Dominion whispered, perhaps they will spare our worlds. The galaxy bent its knees, but not all at once. Some still tried to resist. A few stubborn admirals gathered fleets at their borders. They screamed to their people, we will not bow. We will not kneel. But when their citizens saw the moon turn to dust, they refused to fight. They filled the streets with protests, begging their rulers to stop. No more pride. Save our families. Save our worlds. Even the soldiers muttered in their barracks, against that ship, we are already dead. The first crack split empires from within. Civilizations that once looked untouchable now shook like leaves in a storm. And on the slave worlds of the Outer Rim, hope turned into fire. Chains rattled, voices rose. The humans have struck them. Now they fear. Now they are weak. In the mines, slaves dropped their tools. In the factories, they stopped their machines. They looked to the stars, whispering, "Humans, come to us, save us." For the first time, the oppressed saw a chance that their masters might bow to Earth or be destroyed. Meanwhile, aboard the warship, the humans watched the chaos unfold. Countless signals filled their screens. Surrender, notes, offers of gold, desperate cries. Some messages were broken with tears. Alien leaders on their knees, their voices shaking. "We mocked you once. We enslaved your kind. Forgive us. Take our wealth, take our service, only spare us." The captain stood silent. His crew watched him, waiting for his answer, but he did not reply. He let the silence drag. He let the galaxy drown in its fear, because sometimes silence was sharper than any blade. On distant colonies, children asked their parents, "Will the humans destroy us?" The parents could not answer. Only silence filled their homes. The silence of waiting for judgment. Some worlds tried to bribe Earth with weapons, others with fleets, others with promises of alliance. But deep down they all knew. Humans did not need them. Humans needed nothing. The warship alone was enough. The pleas grew louder, more desperate. Voices cried across the stars, "Spare our world. Take our leaders, but save the people. We will kneel. We will worship. Only do not fire again." And through it all, the warship drifted in silence, a shadow across the stars. Its stillness was worse than battle. Its calm was more terrifying than rage, because the galaxy knew, when humans finally spoke, it would decide the fate of millions. On the command deck, the captain finally turned to his officers, his voice calm, steady. "They beg for mercy," he said. "Let them beg longer." And so the galaxy begged. Civilizations that once enslaved, mocked, and crushed others now cried like children. On their knees, in their temples, in their palaces, they prayed to Earth, not because they loved it, but because they feared it. The pleas for mercy filled every corner of the galaxy, but mercy was not promised. And as the warship floated, silent and watching, every race learned the same truth. Earth was no longer asking for respect. Earth was deciding who would live and who would be dust. "With you always." The galaxy knelt. World after world, empire after empire, all bent their knees before Earth. Some did it out of fear, some out of desperation, and a few out of respect. But no one dared to laugh anymore. No one dared to call humans weak above Earth. The warship drifted like a silent star. Its shadow stretched across the void, a reminder of what it had done and what it could do again. One strike had been enough to change the galaxy's future forever. Messages still poured in, surrenders, offerings, desperate promises. On some worlds, leaders sent their crowns, their thrones, their armies, begging Earth to accept them as servants. On others, whole civilizations prayed to the humans like gods, chanting their names in temples and streets. And yet, Earth remained silent. The captain of the warship stood at the command deck, his hands folded behind his back. His eyes gazed into the stars, watching as civilizations trembled. His crew waited for his orders, their faces calm. Their silence was their greatest weapon. Finally, the captain spoke. His voice echoed through the ship and into history. "We did not build this warship for conquest," he said. "We did not raise it for glory or gold. We built it because no one stood with us, because we were left alone, abandoned by the galaxy." His words were recorded, sent, and spread across the stars. Billions watched and listened. "We do not want slaves," the captain continued. "We do not want thrones. We want only this: that never again will Earth stand alone. That never again will humanity be mocked. That never again will our children be left behind. If you want peace, you will have it. If you want war, you will vanish, but if you wish to live, you will stand with us always." Silence followed. Silence across every system, every world, every empire. The galaxy listened to the words, and in that silence hearts broke, because they understood the truth. Humans were not seeking empire. They were seeking loyalty. They were seeking respect. They were seeking unity under fear. On the slave worlds of the Outer Rim, tears filled the eyes of broken workers. For the first time, their masters were afraid. The chains rattled. Voices rose. "The humans will protect us," they whispered. "They will stand with us." On holy worlds, priests declared, "The prophecy is complete. The humans will lead. The humans will guard." On proud empires that once ruled with cruelty, rulers bowed their heads. Some cursed, some cried, but all knew resistance was death. And so they whispered the words Earth demanded. "With you always." One by one, civilizations spoke it. A vow, a surrender, a promise. The words spread from world to world until the entire galaxy echoed the same phrase, "With you always." The warship hovered in silence, listening to the voices that now pledged to humanity. And on Earth below, people stood on their shores and rooftops, looking up at the giant shadow above. For centuries they had been mocked, forgotten, abandoned. But now the galaxy bowed to them. Children on Earth pointed at the warship, their voices filled with awe. "That is ours," they said. "That is hope." In alien palaces, rulers wept as they signed their oaths. In slave camps, rebels cheered as they broke their chains. In holy temples, priests lit new fires and called humanity the guardians of judgment. The galaxy had been reshaped, not by conquest, not by armies, but by the silent shadow of one warship. And still, Earth spoke little. The captain gave no threats, no boasts. He only repeated the vow. "Stand with us and you will live. Betray us, and you will be forgotten." The galaxy understood, and the galaxy obeyed. From that day onward, humans were no longer the outcasts. They were the center, the axis on which all others turned. Civilizations bent, not out of love, but out of fear. And yet some quietly, truly began to admire for the first time. The galaxy whispered Earth's name with respect. The day Earth raised its planet-killer warship would never be forgotten. It was the day arrogance ended. It was the day fear began. And it was the day the galaxy swore the same vow. "With you always." And so it was. Humanity had risen. Humanity had been mocked and left for dead. But now, with one warship, with one strike, they had claimed their place among the stars, not as servants, not as prey, but as guardians. The galaxy would never again abandon Earth, for the humans had spoken, and the stars themselves had listened.